One of the problems with recruiting for investment banking is not the knowledge or skills you acquire, but the access to talk with real investment bankers to put your best foot forward. Our sponsor, WSO Academy, can provide those connections with 60 head mentors who are finance professionals at top firms like Goldman, Centerview, and JP Morgan. Imagine being able to get on the phone within 24 hours with one of the Academy's 1,300 mentors right before a critical interview. Get on the waitlist for WSO Academy today by clicking the link in the show notes or by visiting wallstreetoasis.com/academy. All right. Welcome to Investment Banking Insights, the only podcast dedicated to helping you learn both the technical and non-technical aspects of the investment banking process. My name is Alex Mason. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining me today, taking a few minutes out of your busy day to listen and learn with me as we go through all of the fundamentals that we need to know for pivoting to investment banking, or maybe you're already a banker and you're just refreshing on some knowledge. That's awesome too. But we're talking about mergers and acquisitions. We've been going through all of these different aspects. And today's question is this: what role does a merger model play in most deal negotiations? Remember, we talked about merger models many episodes ago. Merger models, let's first revisit what that is, right? Before we can answer the question, I always like to go back to basic definitions because I think that helps solidify the knowledge, right? So merger model is a financial model that represents how accretive or dilutive a merger or acquisition will be based on various assumptions. Now, remember, we talked about this concept of accretive versus dilutive quite a bit. Accretive is essentially when the earnings per share of the company purchasing the target company goes up relative to their foregone interest on cash as well as the interest on debt. If the extra net income they get from the seller is greater than that foregone interest on cash as well as the interest paid on debt, the deal is accretive. If not, the deal is dilutive. So effectively, when a company buys another company, they're buying extra cash flows, right? They're buying more profits. They're buying net income too. So the merger model is how we look at the two financial statements of each of these businesses and then make various assumptions in order to bring them together and determine accretion or dilution. And this is important because it helps to communicate to management teams what may or may not work if the two businesses come together and what might need to happen in order to make things work. And the thing about a merger model is that it's part of the journey on the way to getting a deal done, but it is not the end of the journey. It's really a sanity check on whether or not things might work with the business combination. Ultimately, decisions to merge with or acquire a company are going to depend on a lot of subjective factors. For example, how badly does the CEO want to expand his or her empire? A lot of CEOs are hell-bent on making acquisitions to keep expanding inorganically by just buying other companies. And some business models are designed specifically for this. You'll hear the term roll-ups, where a business's entire business model is basically to consolidate a fragmented industry. So there's many different reasons why businesses will purchase other businesses. And we've talked about those in the past in prior episodes, like competitive positioning or increasing market share, or there's some kind of strategic reason, or maybe there's an emotional reason at play too. So those things can have a lot of influence on whether the deal actually gets done as far as the negotiations. But as far as the merger model is like this step on the way. It's the part of the process that is a tool to the management teams and to the bankers working on the deal to say, okay, this deal makes sense for this reason, and that reason, or it doesn't make sense for this reason or this other reason. And so that's the role that merger models play. Okay, that's what I got for you today on Investment Banking Insights. My name is Alex Mason, your host. Thank you for the ratings. Thank you for the reviews. I appreciate you listening and interacting with me. I'll see you next time as we tackle the final M&A question. Not the final M&A question ever, of course, but the final fundamental merger and acquisitions question that we're going to cover in this section of the show. We'll talk about that in the next episode. Until then, I'll see you next time.